Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Path Less Traveled. I'm Rachel McGowan.
And I'm Kara Sage.
So today, if you're listening to this in real time, is February 17th, and this is just not another day on the calendar. We have a lot happening from an astrological, for sure, perspective. And as always, we have a new numerology week, but we are going to get into all of what is going on today. So today is really a convergence point. It's a cosmic, it's a spiritual ignition. We are talking about the beginning of the Chinese New Year of the Fire Horse. Yay, getting rid of the snake energy. A powerful new moon in Aquarius, an eclipse portal today as well. And we are in a numerological vibration week 7 this week. So this is one of those rare moments when astrology, ancient wisdom, and numerology are all telling an interesting story. And that story is about fire, awakening, and radical alignment. So let's get into it.
Yes, Rachel, I'm so excited. And I think so many people have been looking forward to February 17th. I think the main theme of this day is the fire horse energy. So it is when the Chinese astrology calendar ticks out of the snake energy and into the fire horse. So each year has a specific animal as their zodiac as well as an element. So the horse has been paired with fire. And as I always say, horses are movement forward, they are momentum, but you have the fire element. And that really gives it that spark. Like when you think of a horse running, fast and on fire and towards something, right? So if we've been in stagnation, if we've been in limbo, we've been in that quiet, almost a hermit mode, shedding, shedding,
Mhm.
shedding. And we talk about the last sheddings of the snake ramping up. So ER visits go up. The Schumann resonance, ticks up and down. People are experiencing this on different levels. Of course, I see lots of clients and people have many, many questions about what is actually happening, what's coming forward. So we are in a number 1 year, as we've talked about, and the fire horse is that feels like a new beginning, feels like it's coming out of stagnation. It's asking us to align. So if you're not feeling that fire quite yet, that's okay. And I like to always remind people on a portal day or a special moment in time, you don't have to feel high vibe. You don't have to feel it instantly. It's not like, the clock ticks on February 17th and everything's magical and fine. This is the initiation point. This is the starting point that you can get into that energy. So if you're still integrating, your job is to align within. Your job is to pay attention, be present with it, allow it to be okay, and kind of move through that shift. And that's really the best way to do it.
Mhm.
For some reason, Rachel, I know you're really into the numbers and you're like a master at this numerology, but the fire horse also reminds me of a number 5 because it's that freedom, change, fast movement,
Right.
travel. So I kind of think of that movement here with the fire horse as well, but it's asking us to be ready. It's like
Yes.
you don't have to make the horse go. The horse is going to go on its own. You just have to be present and available. And hopefully you've done your work with the shedding of the snake to know what no longer serves you and to kind of be in an alignment point to allow that horse energy to propel you forward. So that's definitely fast. And I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a fun energy.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the last time we had a fire horse energy was in 1966. So just to give you kind of perspective of what we can maybe expect to happen this year. The Cultural Revolution was happening in China. The Vietnam War had escalated. There was civil unrest in the civil rights movement in the United States, and the space race intensified. So the fire horse years are known for bold social shifts, breakthrough leadership, dramatic personal awakenings, and unpredictable momentum. So, just to give you a little context of like, well, what did we experience the last time this happened? A lot going on. And we can kind of already feel that this year. I mean, especially in the United States, there is a lot of unrest. Right now, there's tension all over the world, and it'll be really interesting to see now that we've shifted into this new energy, what's going to come and how quickly it's going to come now that we're in this new year.
Yeah, that's correct. And really to give people that timeline and understanding at that moment in time,
Mhm.
that's what was going on. We can definitely feel things ramping up, I believe, in world, and things have been for a while. With the new moon coming in Aquarius as well, that is such an
Mhm.
interesting time because Aquarius talks about more of the social, the collective. It's innovated
Right.
technology, it's communications, it's all of that time, that air energy coming through. But Aquarius is an innovator. Might be a little quirky, but they move forward and they innovate things and they kind of like shake things up, but in a more subtle way than a fire energy because you've got that air. It's what air blows the fire when you think about tending a fire and you blow it a little, you know, kind of get it to spark up. So I like how the Aquarius kind of works with that fire and that really does deal with innovation. So at this moment in time, we can see that the world stage is set to have some kind of big shifts. And sometimes we can get in the mindset that all of that's going to be negative. It's going to be war, it's going to be chaos. And some
Right.
of those things could happen. We don't know. But I do think that it's also innovation in a good way, things shifting to where they need to be. Could be a tower
Right.
moment, something needed to level out in order to be rebuilt on a better foundation. So I think that the Aquarius and air energy with that fire energy of the horse coming through is really a pivotal moment of a shakeup and how those things work in tandem. So yeah, it's interesting to know that 1966 was that big moment last time.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, you may not feel it right away, but we know that there's that smoldering and that ignition and, literally that horse vibe of running out of the gate. You're kind of bouncing around in there waiting for the gate to open and push forward. That is really something to just be ready for. And as you were talking about Aquarius, when you think about yourself, really think about what future are you building? Who are you becoming? Are there any outdated identities you might want to release? And, so this time might not be, really comfortable, but as you were saying, it's about that collective evolution and how are you going to be a part of that? So it is the inner work of like who you are, but also how can you be the person that is going to be involved in this outward impact with the community as we are, shifting and there is probably more, well, there is, as there's more community activism and a higher consciousness, how are you going to be a part of that system as we move forward?
And that's why we've been asked to go so far inward and have these personal upheavals and shedding so much over the last year and even two, because it is preparing us to be that person in society, to be that person in the collective. So, did we kind of get some of the cobwebs out of our own personal stuff? And we're always going to still have some stuff going on, of course. But now that we've removed some of those big ones, we can get into the collective space and kind of do that. And I love how you're saying that this is a gateway portal because it really does feel like a gateway, an initiation,
Yeah.
and that we've had to kind of get into that space. As we are recording, today is Friday the 13th. So I'll explain how this is relevant when you're watching on the 17th. This is a day that people have kind of marked like a 666, kind of a negative, evil day. Of course, this usually has to do with repressing the divine feminine. So today is actually a very lucky day. It's a very auspicious, wonderful day to really get in your feminine energy. That's kind of why I'm wearing pink. That's kind of why I, like get into the feminine vibes because I really try to hone into my own power during this time. So even if you're watching this later, it doesn't have to be on February 13th to realize that maybe there's been some power in that time. And then it comes right before the day of love, Valentine's Day. And that does not have to be a Hallmark card, it doesn't have to be romantic love, but it's just a symbol of love that society has created. It's a day
Right.
that man and society has created as a day of love. But with the kind of getting into that feminine energy on the 13th and then pouring that love into yourself in whatever way feels good, even if it's just dressing up, taking a salt bath, connecting with some girlfriends, whatever it is for you, connecting to that love and bringing that energy just a few days later into the fire horse energy, I think is a beautiful place to be. So this really is a gateway time, and along with that feminine energy come the goddesses. And so many goddesses are there on the gateways in the portals to kind of help us. So I think that goddess energy is really present too. And I think a lot of people forget that. So that's a really positive kind of thing that we have in our corner, I'd say.
Yes, I love that. And, who doesn't want to connect with the goddesses?
I'm in.
Of course.
I'm in.
When you speak about portals, we also have an eclipse. As if
There's
we need
one.
more things going on right now, we've got an eclipse happening today. So tell us about that.
Well, eclipses are those big portals, and it's this amplification, right? This amplification energy. So it always really, there's a lot of shedding and creating. So these can make big, powerful shifts. So, like sudden
Mhm.
changes in momentum, as if the horse energy is not creating enough momentum in itself, along with the Aquarius innovation energy. But those eclipses really just amplify it. I think that's the most important thing to know. And as it amplifies, there are sudden faded things that can occur. A faded conversation, a faded meeting, something that's a sudden realization. And I think that, well, solar is obviously sun, so it's powered by the sun energy. So that also goes along with the fire. So this is really just that, like you said, the horse in the gate that's like ready to go. It's just a little bit more of a kick on that horse to get him ready to go,
Mhm.
and a little bit more of that moment of an amplification energy. That's, I think, the most important way that the eclipse ties in, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I feel like every time we've gone through an eclipse, it is it's good to have the background and the understanding so that when you're like, what is happening right now, that you are like prepared for it because it is abrupt and, like, hidden truths can be revealed, and like you said, this is even amplifying this, like, sped up timeline that, you may or may not be ready for, but if it is something that you would like to happen, it's good to know that, like, "Hey, this is a very supportive time for these things to happen," so, like, do whatever you need to do to kind of prepare yourself for it, and then expect the unexpected.
I'd say that's definitely a good theme for what we're going through. And you don't have to know exactly what it is. It's good to get clarity. It's good to, first understand kind of the direction you want to go. But even if you don't know, just getting in the space to allow that to come through you, just getting into even a neutral space or a calm space as much as possible and just watch it happen. It's almost like sitting back in the seat of ourselves and watching the emotions flow or watching the drama play out before us while trying to be removed from it. You're just kind of getting into that space where you're going to be able to be flushed with the current of the energies. And I think if we can do that,
Right.
that's at least the best thing. But getting some clarity, really seeing what do you want to take forward into this year, right? Like, what is one new step that you could take? What is one thing to get you boldly out of your comfort zone? And it could just be sending a text that you don't normally. If you're not normally an initiator, maybe you send a text. Maybe you
Yeah.
get a little bit more vulnerable about something. It's just like one little step that you can take to say, energy, I'm here for you. Guide me now.
Right. And I think it's perfect that this is a week 7 in numerology, which is all about that introspection, tapping into the spiritual, the mystical, because 7 is the seeker. So it represents inner wisdom, spiritual downloads, that solitude, study, revelation. So to your point of we've got so much fast energy that's going to be happening, whether it feels immediate for you or it's going to take maybe a week or a couple weeks or a month for that to really shift for you. So, like I was saying, this is really a super important time. And the energy this week is supportive of that to make sure you're ready and you're very, very clear about what it is that you want, how you are going to be a part of the collective as we shift into this. Because, like we said, we've got Fire Horse, we've got the Aquarius community energy, and then we've got, our own personal goals that we want to achieve. So while the Fire Horse energy is outward and bold, and Aquarius is collective and futuristic, the 7 is what's pulling us inward. So this week, what I encourage you to do is before you take any leaps, check in with yourself. Know yourself. Take that time to focus on you. Before you speak, listen, and before you act, align, because there's going to be a lot of massive outward change that's going to be fueled by this deep inner clarity, which is why we need to kind of spend this week to prep ourselves before the unexpected
Yes.
happens.
Yes. Get into that inner love, get into that seat of the self, and kind of use that time to go inward before that push outward. Because anytime
Right.
we can do that work inside and clean up our side of the street, that's just going to be better for the collective. And it's going to help us flow better with the energy as opposed to feeling like it's jarring us. I love what you said about that it might happen months later. Sometimes in these pivotal moments, you don't feel anything right away, but we can feel it building. And then, days, weeks, months later, we witness, wow, that was a big shift, or I didn't know that was coming, or that's what that energy was for. So definitely just being prepared to receive and then be willing to take that aligned action as things come up. So when that fire energy brings something to you, shows you a new path, gives you a new opportunity, then you're able to take that and go with that. Because, if we sit on our couch and eat ice cream all day, we're probably going to miss some opportunities, right? So being
Right.
aware of when that opportunity presents, then we can move forward in that way.
Right. And I think what's important to note here is we're talking about energy as a collective. We're in a collective year one. Collectively, we're in this fire horse energy. Collectively, we're experiencing a new moon in Aquarius. But we all personally go through our own theme for the year, our own season for the year, which, as we've talked about in the past, is based on your birthday. So when you add up the day and the month, and then we're in a year 1 to 1, that'll tell you between the numbers 1 and 9 what your theme of the year is. So every month, of course, is a different theme as well. So what you were talking about of like a couple months later could be when you're really feeling this. So if you are in a different theme for the year, so let's say you're in your year of abundance, you're in your 8 year, but you're in a month 7 this month of focusing on yourself and self-care. But once you actually get to that 8 month energy that aligns with your theme for the year, when that's kind of your goal for the year, and that's when your energy is most supportive of stepping into that power and that success and that abundance that you're looking for, that's maybe when you might actually really feel that big energy coming through, and you're just kind of simmering, or these other months you're focusing on things that are kind of goals than your main theme and goal for the year. And so I think you really have to be aware of that and just lean into the energies that are, and not feel like you're behind, because you're not,
Right.
or you're not right in line with everybody else, or you should be feeling one way or another. We're all on our own timeline here and living our own life, and just things may come at different times depending on what season you're in.
Because we have to get our own ducks in a row. We have to get our own puzzle pieces together. And sometimes that quiet time really provides that to come
Mhm.
together in order to take that leap. If you're in, and I am actually in my 8 abundance year. So Rachel, we'll be discussing how that looks for me as we move forward. But yes, I have personally felt in a little bit more of an introspective time. I think I'm probably coming out of that a little bit, but all of the work we're doing under the surface is just going to hone that energy, polish that diamond, and make it that much better. So if you are just polishing your diamond at home and you're taking a little bit of a break before that fire comes in and you get those opportunities, remember, listen for opportunity knocking, and then feel within your body if that feels right too. I think they will feel generally if that is in alignment or not with what they want to do. It'll be like a yes, let's go. So pay attention because the universe will give you those signs and synchronicities as this year moves on.
Yes. So, some of the things you might feel this week: restlessness, strong urges to change direction, a need to speak your truth. Like you were saying, maybe you send that text, maybe you get more vulnerable than you are have typically been comfortable doing, heightened intuition. I mean, new moons are the best time to manifest. So it's great to tap into that energy. Sleep disruptions or vivid dreams, so common with eclipses. Emotional release, sudden insight about your path. So, as far as paying attention to things, as you were alluding to, look for repeating themes, conversations that feel faded, like you were talking about earlier, unexpected opportunities, what falls away effortlessly, because that eclipse energy is removing resistance. The fire horse energy is accelerating the movement, like we've been saying. The Aquarius energy is upgrading our identity because it's futuristic and community focused. And then the 7 energy is clarifying the soul. So today, what we'd love you to do is to maybe do some of these really powerful rituals or practices today to kind of help you hone in on this energy. Write a freedom list. So, what does freedom feel like in your life? Financially, emotionally,
Creatively?
thank you. Emotional, creatively, set one radical intention, not a safe goal, a brave one. Release one old identity. Who are you no longer? And burn the paper safely. Firehorse loves a symbolic fire ritual. Spend 17 minutes in silence. This might feel hard, but just find a really good meditative playlist. Seven energy rewards quiet reflection. And finally, connect with your community because Aquarius thrives in aligned circles. So these are just five little ideas for the day. Don't have to do them all, but I think maybe pick one or two that resonate with you and just see how it helps you to really shift your mindset and your energy that's with the supportive energy that's already happening today.
Yeah, I mean, we are regenerating and we are just seeing where those sparks are coming up within us, seeing where we need to tend the flame that's coming.
Right.
Because, of course, fires start small and then they really take off with that energies. However you want to tend that flame and wherever you're at is really perfect. But I love those ideas, Rachel. Like all of those are so amazing and they're
Yeah.
really going to help people get to be in the aligned state that they need to. And that's really all we're here to do is saying, how can you best use these energies? How can you best be aware of them and then internalize that for your own self personally?
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for all that is to come. It is gonna be a crazy year. Hopefully not too chaotic, but hopefully, a lot of positive change to your point. It doesn't mean it's going to be bad. It can be very amazing and empowering energy that is supporting the changes that are going to happen. So, it's going to be a lot better than the snake energy because I think everybody is sick of
I think we're
being
done. Yeah,
focused on yourself.
we're we're done with that. And this does feel happier, more supportive. Feels like
Oh, yeah.
finally out of those clutches, right? I always say the villain clutches. I feel like it's like the villain's last throws when they know they're
Right.
down. It's like those last throws. And I think that seeing it in that light is really helpful for this new beginning, these revolutionary times. And we're just going to buckle up and stick together like Aquarians, and we're going to enjoy the ride because it's going to be sparks. It's going to be sparks. And I, for one, cannot wait.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to talk about this, at the end of the year and be like, wow,
Here's where we,
what a year.
here's where
Yeah. So buckle up, y'all. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. Celebrate the new shift into this more sunshiny energy. It feels like the clouds are lifting. And like you said, it feels brighter. It feels happier. It feels great. So have a great week. Feel free to let us know how things are going. If you have any questions, reach out. But we appreciate you tuning in and we hope that this is helpful and gives you the context you need to be able to move into the rest of 26 ready to.
absolutely. Yep. We're going through it too. So we're all just going to align and get ready to move. I'm excited.
Okay, well, we'll see you next time on the Path Less Traveled. Have a good one. Bye.